I'd like to bring a history teacher, Mr. Jirsa, also very famous from his Fox 9 News debut, to expand on history stories. Mr. Jirsa. Thank you very much.
Well, I was just thinking when they said I was getting introduced that I need to do that in class, and it feels so good. I am really excited to share with you a few of the things from the history that we've been digging into in the last couple years as part of this preparation for the celebration this weekend. We have dug through a lot of stuff, and so I wanted to put a picture up there of some students doing this, but I looked and I'm like, these guys have all graduated. We've been at this for a long time, so if you don't mind clicking ahead a bit here, there they are. And so, I don't know if you've seen these, but up in the media center, John McCurry, who is a legend around here, he has tucked away all of these fantastic things of Washburn history, including these books that had the 1926, 1927, 1928 issues of the Washburn Grist, which we looked through. And we soon realized that we're going to have to scan all of these things. So they took my students, mostly my students, a little bit of me, took pictures of every single page. And then we also looked through every Ohioan. We get a lot of those from the library. And then we searched city papers for every good story, accomplishment, and scandal we could find. And the results are in that exhibit over there and on these little walking history tours. I hope some of y'all enjoyed those today. And if you missed them, come back tomorrow because we'll open it up again. Let's click ahead here. So I was asked to tell a little bit of history, and I decided out of all this research, if we could go up, I thought out of all the research we did, I'm going to tell you 3 stories. I was told they had to be about expansions. I'm going to make that work. So let's click ahead one. And I'm going to tell you one of the first things I found pretty remarkable is something Tracy was just talking about. We have had a lot of famous millers here at Washburn. On the next slide, yes. So in the early days, I noticed a pattern. We had a lot of actors and actresses. 2 of those folks up there, Richard Carlson, who seems like he was a hoot. I can tell you some stories about him later. And Eric Ralph was in Song of the South, which, if you know, is like the movie you can't stream on Disney. But both of them very accomplished, big actors who were both in the Marriage and Annette on this very stage. Alan Greer, I'll tell you, we found a scandalous story about him and his Washburn sweetheart. James Arness, we found out went here for all of a couple weeks, and we've been telling him that he was here all the time. We just found out something. Evelyn Juster, I heard her voice and I didn't know it. She's the radio actress that would do the dramatic voiceovers and like CBS theater things back in the day. So we have all these great folks, but if you click a forward one, we have one more that I didn't mention that's from those early days. And on this next slide, this is going to be Arlene Dahl, who went to Washburn, graduated in the 40s. There she is on stage doing, I don't know if you know about this, but this is the Washburn Posture Contest. It was part of the Girls' Gymnast. And the shocking thing is Arlene Dahl, who was kind of known for beauty, she wrote some books about it later with some questionable titles, Beyond Beauty Works, but the Always Ask a Man, the Secret to Femininity, I think is the title. That one I don't know about. But anyway, Arlene Dahl did not win. Pat Champion won this competition at Washburn, showing you that I guess that our posture contest doesn't always pick the right winner. But I wanted to click at one more slide here and show y'all what Tracy was talking about Patty Burke here. And so, we're back to the idea of expansions. I think that folks like Patty Burke expanded what Washburn women could do here in our community. And we have a lot of examples in the exhibit of that kind of thing going on. So if we go ahead again, my next story is about World War II. I love digging into this because the entire Washburn community rallied to the war effort. That picture in the upper left-hand corner is students gathered in history class around the latest technology donated by the previous year's class, a radio to hear Franklin Roosevelt declare war. And at that moment, they mobilized Washburn in 1 year, in 1944, raised more than, adjusted for inflation, $500,000 for the war effort by selling more bonds. They made crutches in shop class, they were sending packages to refugees even when the war was over. Washburn, they brought it. Now, if you click ahead to the next slide, one of the surprise things was that we found in the yearbooks that when Washburn opened, we had one family, Japanese-American family, the Kitagawa family, and they sent children throughout the years. But then suddenly 5 more show up in the mid-40s. And what's going on? Well, we dig a little deeper and find out that all 5 of these folks came to Washburn from Japanese incarceration camps. Usually they had some sort of connection to a family member at Fort Snelling, but that brought them here. You'll see in that photo in the lower left, I really like that. That was their photo right before they left for the camp, and they said, well, we want to look happy because we don't want to just get down in the dumps. We're going to put a happy face on this and get through it. At Washburn, one of the folks here, Frank Fujimoto, was known as a member of the cheerleaders the first year that they had female members, which is kind of interesting. So anyway, let's click ahead a little bit. So we're expanding the student body. We have some Japanese-American students during World War II, and then we wanted to find our first African-American students. And the hint came from something about actually expanding the school physically. And that's that article in the upper left about a meeting that was held in the late 50s about should we add the $1 million addition that later became the gym back there, the big gym, and all of that. So you know that actually happened. But at the time they said, $1 million is a lot of money. Can't we just fill all those empty classroom seats over at Central High School? Why aren't you doing that? It's just changing a line on the map. Well, it turns out that Central High School was more integrated than Washburn, and so some people said there must be bias. Well, the school administrator said, oh, we can't be racist at Washburn. We have 4 African-American students. So I'm like, I need to go find these students, and we found 2 in the yearbook, and that's on that next slide. So 2 were in the yearbook, and then we found 2 later that graduated in that same class, so we think they just missed the yearbook photos. But if you look, what I love about this photo is I think it speaks volumes about what it might have been like to walk into Washburn High School. One of the uncomfortable things we found is that in the 50s, there's regular videos of students parading around in blackface, not knowing any better. It's an all-white community. It's a hard thing to walk into. In this photo, you'll see that Edward Bailey is all the way on the side of the team. He's not in uniform yet. He's not part of the group. But I will say, by the last year, he was a star of the track team and a Washburn Miller. And at least 3 of the 4 went off to college and experienced great success here at Washburn. So we've expanded our Washburn community. It continues to grow. You can find out more about that in the exhibit. I've got some great stuff about Washburn and the complicated story of race here. I have one more quick thing to show you, and that's just to talk about that actual addition that got made. That was our major addition, and I hope you've gotten a chance to walk around the school and see we've added some science weeks twice, an English teacher and I, on social studies. We're just talking about when our turn comes, but they've been 2 science editions. They're beautiful, you should go see them if you haven't. But out of this, I think the most interesting thing is, and I bet some of y'all were here for this, when they dug up the gym, they found these things on the next slide, are rocks. And I think that for rocks, I love this. Generations have been painting these rocks out there, but I think you'll notice what I notice, and I'm going to invite y'all to tell me a little bit more about this, because I think I know the story, but I'm not sure. But aren't those rocks on the left a little different than the rock on the right? Did something happen? So you'll have to tell me about that. But I'm loving all these Washburn traditions and all of this history, and looking forward to talking to y'all more later. So thank you.